some of you got to see it a little bit early. Woo! It's going to be a fun night, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to talk about. We got some guests coming on later. We're going to have Xander Scullion, who's currently in chat. He will be here later, along with Olivia Sinead Heron, the original E.T.N podcast crew. Will be here later tonight. And then following after that, Unprepared Joey. There is an Unprepared Joey sighting. Yes. Yes. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to thank our early Patreons. Oh my God, they're started. They're started. Thank you. Big shout out to my boy Rob Taylor for the $50 dono. Homie, I don't even know what to say anymore, bro. You need to either move to Massachusetts or move my family up to you so I can hug a brother on a daily basis because I owe you a lot. Thank you so much. We're going to do, we got a little unboxing that we're going to do shortly. We're going to give a shout out to all the Patreons who have joined since it opened up early on Tuesday for the Nation Facebook page. It's going to be a great night, guys. It's going to be fantastic. I want to thank you all for being here. Yes. Yes. Okay, first and foremost, this has to be done first. Very, very important. So bear with me. All right. We have something that we should all be proud of. And I'm going to put this over here so I can watch the chat while I do this. So I'm going to put this here. All right. Just bear with me here. Okay. Okay, so, oh, where you at? There you go. What's going on, everybody? I'll catch up with you guys in 1 second, but it's very important that I give a shout out to all the Patreons. So on Tuesday, I opened up the Patreon early for the Nation Facebook page. Obviously, it is officially open tonight. I'm going to put the link in the description as well as, oh my God, there she goes. There she goes. Thank you so much, Amy, for the $51 dono, upping Rob Taylor. And I want to thank Stephen A. for his $25 dono. You guys, guys, take it easy. It's going to be a long night. This is not going to be a traditional 1 hour ETN stream. We got a long night. It's going to be a marathon. Stretch it out, people. Stretch it out. Come on. All right. Patreons. Scott Severin, who actually joined today. He joined Tier 3. He's a Tier 3 Patreon. Scott, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your membership and your investment into ETN. I want to let you know that it's going to be a worthwhile investment. We got a lot of good things planned, and I want to thank you. Sean Flaherty, I want to thank you for becoming a Patreon. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brian, for the dono. I'm glad you made it, bro. It's good to see you here, man. Thank you so much for coming. Chris Roberts, another Patreon. I want to thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that. Kevin Leffingwell joined Patreon as well. I want to thank you, Kevin, very much for that. Tyler Carr also joined. And those last three I just mentioned, Chris Roberts, Kevin, and Tyler Carr, are all Tier 2 Patreon donos. See here. Okay. Bear with me. So I can keep going down the list. I have to hit show more. Joe Finch, Tier 3 Patreon. Thank you very much, Joe, for having faith in ETN. Thank you very much for becoming a patron. Joe Gomez, Tier 2 Patreon. Joe, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Catherine Seymour, who I know is not here, but I want to get it on record if she ever decides to check out the stream later. But Catherine, I want to thank you very much for being a Tier 2 Patreon. Adam Wesley Stryker, Tier 3 Patreon. Adam, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tier 3 Patreon Robert Taylor, who is in chat right now, who is one of the closest friends I've ever made while doing ETN. He's been a fantastic friend for the last 5 years, and he's been very supportive, and he's been fantastic. Rob, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that. Kevin Kearney Jr., Tier 2 Patreon. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate that. Tier 2 Patreon, another fantastic friend of mine's. You know, you see her here as Power Level Amy, but Amanda, thank you so much for everything you've done. You've been another fantastic friend and a huge supporter for the past 5 years, and I could never repay the number of things you've done for me in the last 5 years. Tier 3 Patreon, Ethan Carpenter, another longtime supporter. And Ethan has even had some videos up on my channel, and I've invited him whenever he's ready to start doing content again on a regular basis. He's more than welcome to put it on this channel if he wants. Ethan, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. Tier 2 Patreon, Corey Bruce, another longtime supporter, very active member on the Nation Facebook page, and I want to thank you so much, Corey, for that. It's nice that you've been around for so long. One of the few names that I recognize over the years. There's a core group of ETN supporters that have been around for years, and they are making themselves known. And here's another one, a Tier 3 supporter, and he went the extra mile and put in an additional 5. Al Tinsley, and I know some of you guys have to remember Al. Al was basically the backbone of the Kaiju Fantasy Battle series back in 2014 into 2015. Very talented man, and he's just been a huge supporter for so many years, and he's just a great guy. And Steven, Steve Miller, thank you so much for the $61 dono. Rob, what is the name of the monster in your logo? It doesn't have a name. You know what? If you guys want to name it, you can name it. It doesn't have a name. The person who designed that new theme with my new logo, I just kind of showed him my channel, and I told him the theme of the channel and told him that like Godzilla was kind of the flagship of the channel. So he designed it around that, and that's what he came up with, and I really liked it. So you guys can give it a name. You guys can give it a name. Tier 2 Patreon, Zachary Runke, another long-time supporter of ETN. He's been around since, he's been around a long time. Not only on the Nation Facebook page, but also the channel, of course, among with some of the other names I've mentioned earlier. Christian Sturck, Patreon member. Thank you very much, Christian. You were one of the first ones to drop down and, join the Patreon. Tier 2 Patreon, Xavier Rivera. Thank you very much, Xavier, for becoming a patron. I appreciate the support from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Tier 2 Patreon, Talil Edwards. Thank you very much, Talil. I appreciate it. I couldn't thank you enough for having the faith to invest into ETN and its future endeavors. So thank you. Patron, Truman Fleming Jr., another one that's been around for a while. Truman, thank you so much for your investment into the future of ETN. Tier 2 Patron, Ryan White. Ryan, thank you once again for your Patreon donation and joining the Patreon investment teams and everybody else who joined. I appreciate it, and thank you so much. Tier 2 Patron, Jonathan Walker. Jonathan, another one who's been around for a while. Jonathan, thank you so much. I appreciate the support. And I hope you enjoy some of the things we're going to be doing here on the channel I'm not going to say the years to come. I'm going to say the weeks to come. And we'll get into that in a little while. Tier 2 Patron, Frankie Perez. Frankie, see him all the time on the Nation. Funny guy, great guy. And was the 3rd patron. Stepped up right away. He didn't waste any time. I want to thank you, Frank. Thank you very much. And, okay, so this is a Tier 3 patron, another veteran ETN supporter. And He's got a very unique last name. I don't think he's here tonight, but he's got a very unique last name. Starts with an A. So I'm going to say Stephen A. And he knows, and I've had this with him before. Okay, so some of you guys might remember him. He was the one that actually drafted Rodan in the Kaiju Fantasy Battle Tournament back in the day. I'm pretty sure it was him. And the second patron, this person was the second person to become a patron, and he is a tier 2, Brandon Deathridge. Yes, Brandon, thank you so much. Another ETN veteran. It's been around for a while. And finally, the popper of cherries. This young man was the first one to sign up for the patron. You guys are not going to believe who it is. But Jacob Hoffer, tier 2 subscriber on Patreon. Jacob has been around. In fact, it was funny. We were talking the other night, and Jacob was like, yeah, I'm 19 now. And I almost dropped, because I remember when I first spoke to Jacob, he was like 14, and I realized just how fast time flies by. Homeboy's 19 years old now. Crazy. Those are all the patrons. And Steve, you are here. Oh, you see? Okay, now I get it, because you did the donation earlier too. Steve, I apologize, brother. Your name, I can't say it, man, and I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to butcher it, brother. So please don't be offended. I beg you, don't be offended. I think I said it right once. I think I've said your last name right once, and I think I had to say it to myself at least 5 or 6 times before I got it right. So I give credit to my brother-in-law who played the commissioner that day. He got it right on the first take on camera. So God bless him for that. So for those of you who are not patrons, if you're interested, if you want to learn more about what we're trying to do here, I'm going to put the link here in chat. It'll be in the description of pretty much all my videos going forward, because we are officially live. And also, thank you very much again for that dono, Steve, 3650. I appreciate it so much. Woo! It's been a great week. It's been fantastic. I'm glad you guys liked the intro. You're going to be seeing more creativity like that going forward. That I can promise you. So it's going to be really good. The next thing I want to do